So that sequence took 4 weeks to shoot, but I think just focusing on that undermines how much time it actually took to prep that entire sequence.
Big change.
It really just started, I think, before we even landed in Australia. We started to prep that sequence in LA, and we had the buses that we knew the buses that we were working with, and we had an amazing choreographer in Andy Cheng who came to us from the Jackie Chan stunt team. So, we knew right, from the beginning that this was going to be a very, Hong Kong action influenced fight. And what I mean by that is, it was going to be very kinetic, it was going to be very fast, it was going to be very intricate, and it was going to be creative in the way that it, interacts with the environment, in the classic way that Jackie Chan films often do. And it's more than just about choreographing the kicks, the blocks, the punches. It's also about choreographing the camera and how it works with all of those things. So it's so many different moving parts. Once we actually shipped the buses down to Sydney, we suspended them on gimbals 50 feet in the air, so that they could move around dynamically. We put all of the actors and the extras in there, and then we made all of us fight like we were on it while being on a Disneyland ride, which was very, very difficult. So, at that point we started shooting. 4 weeks went by. We bumped and scraped our knees and shins on pretty much every single part of that bus, and we're very proud of how it all came out.
One of the things that has happened during this time is that Tony Leung has become this Twitter phenomenon. People sort of rediscovering him. I'm just wondering if you could talk about your own relationship working with him. And you mentioned the Hong Kong action. There's also obviously the drama and all those elements that came out of that filmmaking that he did. I'm just wondering what influence that had on you, not only as a performer in this film, but just in general in terms of how you approach acting.
Well, I was a big fan of Tony's movies, from Infernal Affairs to Hero to, Chungking Express, In the Mood for Love, Grandmaster. I mean, the list goes on and on. He is the A-lister of A-listers in Asian cinema, and it really just was such a privilege working with him. I think what Tony really taught me was the art of stillness, which is something that he's mastered. The art of, a single glance or a single expression that without, saying any words conveys just a well of emotion, can break your heart, can shift massive tectonic plates of story, and can just move you and compel you. I think it just feels like when you watch him, he is just so comfortable in his element. He is so at peace, and in a way that is so poignant and so meaningful, is able to ground himself in a scene and just be still. And it's something that for me, as a newer actor, it was always, I think, more difficult to grasp, because I had a lot of anxiety coming into the role. It would manifest in different ways, and what he was so good at was just pulling me into a more grounded and more present place with him, and that's something that I definitely take with me.